Hello, everybody. This is Charles Alvarez, CEO of Cornerstone. Welcome to another episode of our podcast on business growth. Today, we have the pleasure of being joined by Jason Levy with Blazeo. Jason, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So, tell us a little about you and your background, your career, how you got here, and we'll go from there.
Sure. In a nutshell, I started in the industry in graphic design, art direction. Somewhere over the years, I transitioned into more of the marketing space, the other side of the table, so to speak. And I've been with Blazeo for about 2.5 years as their marketing manager. Right now, I guess I'm overseeing growth in general. I guess you'd call it a growth manager.
That's fantastic. What about Blazeo and this opportunity attracted you and made you want to come on board?
At the time, they didn't really have anybody doing marketing. They everything was multi-hat by people that really weren't in a background of marketing. Not a small, tiny business, but they kind of had a small business mindset. And they brought in a chief operating officer, and he started to align things a little bit differently. And he brought me on board to help with all marketing initiatives, including I also oversaw the sales development reps, which fed into the sales team. So worked really tight with the sales team and sales director, and I can get into later. But at the time, we were at Apex Chat. They've been Apex Chat since 2008. And in spring of 2024, we rebranded over to Blazeo. So
Got it.
it's still a little bit new to people, but Apex Chat is very well known.
Great. Awesome. So tell us about Blazio. What do you guys do and who do you typically work with to add value?
So we are, they want to say we're an ad, um, I guess an ad conversion platform. I'd say a lead conversion platform, but basically what we do, if somebody is spending money online or now, even traditional marketing or advertising, um, we help companies, local businesses, medium, small businesses, capture, convert, and close more of those leads with tools like human live chat, US-based call centers. We also have just recently launched a new product called Voice AI, which isn't, a lot of people are doing Voice AI, but ours is proprietary and we're pretty excited about that. We also do have AI-powered chatbots. We can do appointment scheduling, and in some industries like legal, we can do retainer signing. So basically, we're sort of that, sorry for the cliche, one-stop shop.
Yep,
If they are spending money on ad, they want to get the best return on that they can. So that's where we come into play.
that's awesome. So what are some of the challenges that people that might be listening to this or just in the market might be facing where they say, you know what, we should have a conversation with Blazio? And also, what makes you different than others that claim to do something similar or the same of Blazio?
So I guess most of our customers come to us maybe in a transition period, or they grew too fast for their own good or something, where they realize they're getting calls, all hours of the day and night. They're getting calls on weekends. Even if they are open, they can't handle things like that. They can't handle the traffic that's now generated by advertising. And so they come to us to help us, or to help them, um, I guess, not let anything slip through the crack. We can help augment their teams. We can build automated systems for them, and just really lessen that pain that people go through when trying to grow their businesses.
One thing that really intrigued me when you and I prepped for this podcast was the ability to give companies, your clients, insights and visibility and clarity on what is incorrect, what is not up to par, and more importantly, how to fix it. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, Jason?
Yeah, so aside from the insight, our tool, our portal has a full dashboard, so they can see everything is quite transparent. That's number one. But you know, we I lost my train of thought, but yeah, so uh, what we like to do is help companies, if they are struggling, we can step in. Um, we have a great services team and we offer solutions that they may not be thinking of, and we work with those companies. It's not just, you know, a la carte, buy this, buy that, and we charge them and that's that. And we could, we just keep going after new clients. We want to make sure they're successful. So, we really go above and beyond in our customer success team and being a partner with them.
And what are some of the metrics that you're looking to increase? Like, conversion rates, opt-in rates, kind of what are some of the needles you're looking to move, Jason?
Yeah, we're definitely looking at not just capturing more leads. Um, that's on another side of it. If they want to run an ad campaign or whatever and get those leads in, what we want to do is make sure we're having their teams work on the most qualified leads. So we can filter out a lot of the junk
Mhm.
before it even sees their team even sees it. So that's something I think even our own company sales teams constantly complain about. You're like, yeah, great, I've got 100 leads to go through this week, but three of them were willing to talk. So it's a big waste of time. And we try to not eliminate, it's hard to eliminate it, but we try to minimize it for them.
In other words, when a lead gets passed to them, it's not perfect. Nothing ever is going to be, but the
Right.
quality of that lead by the time it gets to the salesperson is high, which means that unfortunately, and in my opinion, fortunately, the salesperson doesn't have any excuse not to call them.
Exactly. Exactly. The marketing team does their job, we do our job. It's up to the sales guy to do theirs. But to answer your question also, I'd say the needle that we're watching is that close rate. Um, the lead to SQL is a number, but it's even if they become an SQL to where they're talking to our sales or their salespeople, we judge how qualified they are by what that close rate might be. So if that close rate sticks into where we like it to be, then we know then, our leads are doing what they want them to do.
Right. Makes sense. Can you give us an example of one of the clients you have worked with? Like, what situation did you find them in? What their challenges were, what they were looking to accomplish, and how Blazeo was able to help make that happen?
Yeah, so one of our largest segments is in legal. I probably can't mention any
Yeah. No.
specific law firm,
Yeah.
but somebody came to us not quite a year ago. They wanted to try our call center service. They had us for live chat. They wanted to try our call center service. And they're a pretty significant player in the legal space. They were nationwide, multiple offices. And so for us to handle that type of size call center was not cheap. And they were obviously, as any customer should do, they were very, very on top of what their spend was and what they were getting in return. And in the first month, I recall, because it was a mass tort company. So with mass tort, firms, one customer could be worth millions. And, that in itself pays for whatever service we're providing.
Right,
But I
right.
remember that first month they had landed, I think, three or four they onboarded new customers to that one, I guess, lawsuit that they were filing. Those customers were worth millions and millions of dollars to them. And so they were pretty pleased and stuck with us for quite a while after that. I think it ran its course because that case ran its course, but
Right.
yeah.
Sounds like they'll probably be using you for future tort cases, if I could
Yeah, definitely. In fact,
imagine.
we're attending a tort show here in a couple weeks, so
Yeah. It sounds to me like you're not just interested, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you're not just interested in getting a lead. You're interested in getting a sales qualified lead. In other words, something that has some traction, not just somebody that fill out a form for a white paper. You're looking for somebody that is actually interested in having some type of a meaningful conversation. They may not be ready to buy right then and there, obviously, because people do business with those they know, like, and trust. But it sounds like you're really interested in those SQLs that really want to talk to somebody at that company to help them with a particular situation. Is that correct, or am I off base here?
no, you're right on. I'd add to that though, we do have a lot of clients that they're in certain industries where their sales cycle is very fast. So, a lot of times one um, engagement with a customer, if missed, is the difference between, a sale and a no sale. And I, I can lean on to like home services or home improvement industry. You know, um, we have a lot of people that are like roofers or plumbers or, just small businesses that have gotten large enough to capitalize on their website or, paid ads or things like that. Um, they can't answer calls at night or they can't answer chats during the weekend, but we can, and we can get somebody scheduled for, that Monday morning when that guy's back, on the job and he's got a booked day. That's the type of thing that we can also fulfill for people.
Very cool. What would you say differentiates yourself? I mean, I see a ton of companies out there that they, do AI lead generation, AI agents, and, quite frankly, we've interviewed quite a few of them. And quite frankly, Jason, a lot has left us wanting more. Like, a company saying their lead generation company is just basically a MailChimp service that just put the word AI at the back of them. What makes you guys different? And also, what warnings would you have, or what advice would you give to people that is looking for AI to help them with their lead generation? What should they be looking out for? And what are some of the traps they should be staying away from? Because we've come into quite a bit of them, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah, and we hear that too in certain segments. People are still very wary of going AI. We're very aware of that in itself. I think back to your one of your initial comments, what differentiates us is the ability to have a hybrid system. And we've written a number of articles. There is no one perfect solution. Every business is different, and something that works for one business may not work for another. But what we have been able to do now with this arsenal of solutions is offer a hybrid. So if, no matter what size the business, if, AI can take on that initial conversation and somebody does ask a question or want more, we can transfer that right to a live person. Um, Not necessarily also still not in their office. We can have an AI voice call be transferred to a human to finish this off, to get it to schedule. We can take a live chat, or excuse me, an AI chat bot over to a live chat agent. Same thing. Um, So and from that we can, then also schedule them for the people. But Um, I think the challenges are people hearing so much about AI, they think they're maybe behind the eight ball, that, oh, I've got to leverage AI. Somehow I've got to do it. Um, I guess it's almost that Wild West when I need a website because everybody's got a website. It's almost at that stage where AI is doing so many things. But that doesn't necessarily mean, and I guess here's my warning, it doesn't mean necessarily that that works for your company.
Right.
So, you know, tread lightly, really evaluate the service that you're getting. And, I'll reiterate, the best out there is a hybrid solution.
That combines the technology with a human, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the human is it's hard to scale. It's, hard to get right if you're doing it on the um for another company like we do. We have to train them. It takes a while for us to train people on a certain company. Um, but when done correctly, we're a member of their team, so
Right.
it's really done well.
And I think it comes back down to the whole, I mean, I think people forget the fact that AI is software. I
Yeah,
mean, and I remember when I was a project manager at Accenture, 90 to 95% of the wrong answers we were getting had nothing to do with the bug in the software. It had to do with the data or the person putting the information in. So
it's only as good as that data.
yeah, so I think, I don't think, I know for a fact that a lot of these companies are having a really hard time implementing AI, not because the AI is necessarily bad, but the data is bad.
Yeah.
So having an operator that understands how to generate sales qualified leads is important. So what warning would you give? Oh, I can just, let me just have the software and I can have one of our folks do it. I think there is some huge risk in that decision. What are your thoughts?
I think after the trial and error and the waste of time that it just took them to do all that, um, and their people maybe weren't brought on to do that type of development, they probably have lost a lot of money, in just, pulling the trigger on whatever that decision might be, and not worrying about trying to build it
Right.
themselves or execute it themselves if they can't. It took us a long time to launch our AI chatbot, because we have to build in guardrails. The whole goal is to get somebody down to scheduling an appointment, so to speak. And people will ask the weirdest question, sometimes just to see if it is a bot. And we don't pretend that it's not. We tell them they're an AI agent or whatever. But somebody might be calling a personal injury law firm because they were in a motorcycle accident. But then they ask the chatbot, what's the best motorcycle for riding in the mountains in Colorado right now, or something. Just totally random. Well, we've trained our bots in AI to acknowledge that, not just ignore it, not just look like it's stuck on like a scratch record, but to give them a realistic answer. So that's not really what I do. What else can I do for you?
Right, right.
That kind of thing. And keeping the guardrail, keeping the conversation in the right direction. That's where it takes a lot of skill, I think, in development.
I do too, and I think also, I kind of get a little bit frustrated a little bit when somebody says, "Well, what if I'm talking to an AI bot?" I'm like, "Look, is the objective to get your problem solved, or not talk to an AI bot? Is it, and if an AI bot can help accelerate the conversation to get you to the right person, and you get the right answer, and you get your solution solved, do you really care?"
Yeah.
And most people will say, "You know what? I never thought of it that way." But yeah, you're right. I think it comes down to people wanting to feel special. Well, sometimes feeling special is let the AI, let the technology get all the necessary information and route you to the right person so that you actually have a meaningful conversation and get your problem solved, you
Right.
know?
Absolutely.
Well, very cool. Jason, is there any other information that you would like to pass along that you think would be valuable to people listening on this on how to leverage AI to generate more sales qualified leads that we haven't covered in our call so far?
Sure. Something that I might have just in a word mentioned is the automation piece of it. Um, AI is great at content development. As a marketer, it's what we probably use it for the most applicable. But having said that, I'd probably say, you can use AI in writing maybe email sequences in sales or something like that, and having those sales be automated. Um, there's other things you can do with it. We are also, um, I guess I don't want to say the launching because it's been there, but we've revised it. But we're building out a full CRM system on the back end for companies that are in our platform to be able to do that, um, to be able to use the automation. You can use AI also in evaluating the intent of somebody's interactions. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's sort of like once you learn how to prompt AI, it kind of it's wide open, I guess. And I don't encourage everybody to just try to write it all themselves and do it, but yeah, it really is. It's an amazing tool, but it is just that. It's just a tool. It's just a pencil. It's not going to solve
Yep.
everything all the time.
Yep. Makes sense. Jason, you've been fantastic. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you or learn more about Blazeo, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure, they can email me at jlevy, Levy, at blazeo.com.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, I still think, despite the fact that people have been talking about it for a couple of years, my personal opinion, Jason, if you disagree, let me know, is if it were a baseball game, it's top of the first
Yeah,
with maybe one out, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
So you've got plenty of time on this. Make sure that you go with an AI provider that is actually using artificial intelligence, which another word for that is machine learning, which means that it gets better. And it's absolutely critical to have a hybrid model and work with someone who understands how to code it and to do the modeling correctly. And Blazio does a great job. Jason, thank you so much for being with us. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having me.
it. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.